What happens when an alpha walks away from the one fate chose for him? In Chapter 10 of Alpha's Reluctant Luna, Kaelen makes the one decision Serenya never believed he would. He leaves. The bond screams, the wolf within them howls, and the distance between their hearts becomes a wound neither can outrun. Welcome back to the Velvet Story, where love, pain, and destiny collide under the moonlight. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to keep this story alive. Now, take a breath. Let's step into Chapter 10, The Alpha's Departure. The dawn sky bled pale silver as Kaelen stood at the edge of the training grounds, watching the Stormfang warriors spar with Calder. Their movements were sharp, disciplined, but his mind wasn't on their progress. Not truly. His gaze strayed unbidden to where Serenya stood at the edge of the circle, her dark braid glinting in the sun, her wolf simmering just beneath the surface. She looked restless, haunted, and the cursed bracelet on her wrist pulsed faintly, mocking him with its quiet glow. Kaelen's jaw clenched. He couldn't stay, not like this. Every day in her presence was agony, a torment of longing and restraint, of watching her suffer under chains she had chosen herself. He had thought himself strong enough to wait, to burn silently until she came to him willingly. But the witch's spell had poisoned everything, and her silence, her refusal to trust him with the truth until he had dragged it from her, cut deeper than any blade. His wolf paced restlessly inside him, snarling at the thought of leaving her, but Kaelen forced the beast down. If he stayed, he would break. He would snap those chains, consequences be damned, and he could not, would not be the monster who took her choice from her. That evening, Kaelen found him in the war room, rolling up maps and sealing letters. "You're leaving?" Calder's voice was sharp with disbelief. Kaelen didn't look up. "The Stormfang warriors are strong enough to manage without me. I've given them what they need." Calder stepped closer, slamming a fist on the table. "This isn't just about training. What the hell happened between you and my sister?" Kaelen's hands stilled, his shoulders tensed. For a long moment, he said nothing, then finally muttered, "Ask her." "Don't play games with me, Kaelen," Calder growled. "I know you're drawn to her. I've seen the way you look at her, and I've seen her slipping further away these past weeks. If you care for her—" Kaelen snapped his head up, his silver eyes blazing. "I care too much. That's the problem." Calder faltered, caught by the raw torment in his voice. "She doesn't want me," Kaelen said tightly, each word dragged from his chest like shards of glass. "She chose to bind herself against me, to deny everything the bond stands for. And if I stay, I'll either lose myself trying to prove her wrong or destroy her trying to make me mine. So yes, Calder, I'm leaving." Calder's jaw tightened. For once, he had no answer. Serenya learned of it the next morning. She overheard the whispers in the corridor, Kaelen's men preparing the horses, supplies being packed, the Northern Alpha's crest being affixed to saddlebags. Her heart plummeted. She ran to the courtyard, breathless, her chest tight as though crushed by invisible claws, and there he was, Kaelen, astride his midnight black stallion, his men gathered behind him. Her cloak billowed in the morning breeze, his expression carved from stone. "Kaelen!" she cried, her voice raw. He turned. For a moment, something flickered in his gaze. Pain, longing, fury all tangled together, but then it was gone, replaced with cold resolve. "You're leaving?" Serenya's voice broke. He inclined his head, his tone flat. "The North calls. My duty lies with my people." Her throat constricted. "And what of me?" Kaelen's eyes softened just for an instant before hardening again. "You made your choice, Serenya. Now I make mine." Her wolf whimpered in despair, clawing at the fragile walls of the spell, but Serenya stood frozen, unable to move, unable to speak. With a sharp command, Kaelen spurred his horse forward, the gates opened, and the Northern Alpha rode out, his men trailing like shadows. Serenya's chest caved in as the thunder of hooves faded into the distance. For the first time since the bond began, she felt what it was like to be truly empty. The gates closed behind Kaelen with a groan of iron and wood, sealing him outside the Stormfang stronghold. Serenya remained rooted to the courtyard stones, staring at the empty space where his stallion had been moments before. It didn't feel real. He had always been there, looming in the training circle, dominating the war room, prowling the edges of her every thought. To imagine him gone, by his own choice, was like tearing away part of her own skin. Her knees buckled, and she sank to the ground, clutching her arms around herself. "Fool," her wolf snarled, pacing violently inside her. "You drove him away. You clung to chains and let him slip through your claws." Tears blurred her vision. "I couldn't let the bond decide for me," she whispered hoarsely. "I couldn't." "And now you have nothing," the wolf cut back, its voice laced with grief and fury. Serenya buried her face in her hands, her body racked with sobs. She had thought resisting would give her strength, control, a choice. Instead, all it had given her was emptiness. The following days passed in a haze. She went through the motions of training, of duties, of meals with her family, but her spirit was absent. Every night, she dreamed of him, his silver eyes, his voice, his scent that lingered even in memory. Every morning, she woke with the bond aching, her chest hollow as if her heart had been carved out. Calder noticed, of course. One evening, as the sun dipped low and the warriors filed out of the circle, he approached her. His brow was furrowed, his voice gentle. "You loved him." Serenya's throat closed. She couldn't deny it, not anymore. Calder sighed, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Then why did you let him leave?" Her tears spilled freely. Because I was afraid. Afraid it wasn't really love. Afraid it was only fate. I wanted to choose, to be certain." Calder studied her for a long moment, his eyes searching hers. Then, quietly, he asked, "And now, are you certain?" Serenya's breath shuddered. She closed her eyes, letting the truth rise from where she had buried it. "Yes," she whispered. "God's help me. Yes, it's him. It was always him." Far to the north, Kaelen rode in silence, his nun trailing behind. The landscape blurred into endless fields and forests, but he saw none of it. Every mile away from her was agony. The bond screamed in protest, pulling taut like a rope stretched to breaking. His wolf snarled constantly, clawing at him, demanding he turn back. "She is ours. Go back. Claim her." Kaelen gritted his teeth, gripping the reins until his knuckles whitened. "She doesn't want us," he growled under his breath. The wolf howled in denial, but Kaelen pressed on. He had made his choice. If Serenya would not have him, then he would bury the bond, bury the ache, bury everything, and rule his lands as he always had, alone. But in the dead of night, when the campfire burned low and his men slept, he would sit awake, staring at the stars, and whisper her name like a prayer. Back in Stormfang, Serenya lay awake in her chamber, staring at the same stars. The bond tugged relentlessly, aching with distance, whispering of his torment as surely as she felt her own. Her wolf's voice softened, no longer furious, but mournful. "We are breaking, Serenya, both of us. The spell cannot hold much longer, and when it shatters, will it be too late?" Serenya clutched her pillow, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. She had thought she was strong enough to resist. But strength, she realized, was not denying what her soul already knew. Strength was admitting she had been wrong and finding the courage to make it right. He rode away from her, but the bond didn't break. It only grew louder. As Serenya faces the emptiness he left behind, and Kaelen fights the agony of distance, one truth becomes clearer than ever. No spell, no fear, no pride can silence a bond forged by fate. If Chapter 10 shattered your heart even a little, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell me, should Serenya chase after him, or is it already too late? This is the Velvet Story, and you've just heard Chapter 10, The Alpha's Departure. Until next time, my wolves, feel deeply, love fiercely, and follow the pull of destiny.